Welcome back to Edge of IT, and welcome to Season 2. If you've been with us from the beginning, you know this show has always been about exploring how technology drives transformation. But this season, we're kicking things off with a transformation of our own. Converge is now Pellera Technologies. It's more than a new name. It's a reflection of who we are, where we're headed, and what we believe in. Momentum, clarity, and putting people at the center of every solution. In today's episode, I'm sitting down with Greg Berard, CEO of Pellera, to talk about what it really takes to lead an organization through massive change. Greg shares how he navigated the transformation of Converge into Pellera, offering candid insights into brand evolution, tech integration, and the people-centric mindset essential for guiding teams and clients through periods of disruption with clarity and confidence. We'll talk about values, vision, and why great organizations don't just adapt to change, they build it into their DNA. Greg, welcome to Edge of IT. We're really lucky to have you on this exciting episode to talk leading through transformation. Now, I've known you for a few years now, but our audience doesn't necessarily know you. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself before you get started?
And you're looking good as always, Jonathan. So thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here for our first official Pellera podcast. So a little bit about myself. I started my career with KPMG as an auditor after playing hockey at Babson College. In 2002, I made a decision to leave the accounting world and actually joined IBM Software Group to sell IBM's middleware technologies and ended up spending the next 12 years in various roles at IBM. I held local roles in New England. I worked at IBM headquarters for a year in Armonk, but the majority of my time was spent in the software and services space. In 2015, I made the decision to leave IBM and join a local solution provider named Lighthouse Computer Services, so I could travel less and spend more time with my young children, but also focus on taking the time to transform a traditional IBM hardware VAR that was really into IBM Power and IBM Storage and make them more focused on software and services based on my experiences at IBM. So we made a few small transactions and acquisitions and started to really be the go-to IBM partner for software and for Red Hat in New England. And this led to us being acquired by Converge in November of 2018. At the time, we were Converge's fifth acquisition, but I was fortunate enough to become part of the leadership team there and was part of the next 30 acquisitions. So Converge made 35 acquisitions in less than 5 years, and we grew to $3 billion in size as a public company in Canada before we were acquired by HIG in April of 25. And this is where we are today. We are now part of a newly formed company created by the merge of Converge and Mainline, and I'm excited to talk about Pellera Technologies.
There's so many journeys that we embark on, and they all come with challenges, right? So to start off, what have you found helpful to just sort of ground yourself before tackling challenges, large transformations?
Yeah, so for me, it's always remembering where we came from, right? I think it's important to think about where life has taken you and where you started and where you are now. And I've always been a big believer of exercise. And for me, I take long walks every morning, some days 3 miles, some days 5 miles. And I'll choose to listen to different things. I'm a big believer in leadership podcasts. So I listen to a lot of John Maxwell's podcasts. I listen to a lot of technology podcasts. And some days I just want to listen to music and prepare myself for the day. And that's everything from Taylor Swift to the Lumineers to country music. But I think it's important to always remember that it's about the people. And no matter what business you're in, people are what's most important. So I always try to listen, not just to the leadership in the organization, but also to people across the organization. So I can understand what's working, what's not working. I do birthday with Berards for employees on a monthly basis just to hear from everybody, right? They have the right to ask me anything they want. And I like to ask them questions to understand what they're seeing in the business. Transformations, especially at this scale, they impact everyone. What I've always learned is focus on the people, focus on what's right for the teams, and focus on driving value with our clients. And that will lead to successful transformations.
Focusing on the people, that's definitely the core principle. You know, now we are where Converge is coming together with Mainline to form Pellera. Can you share with us a little bit more about how Pellera came to be? What inspired this change?
Absolutely. So at the time, Converge was a public company in Canada. We were looking to go private. HIG had the vision of taking us private and then combining us with one of their current organizations, Mainline. And really what HIG saw here was an opportunity to bring two companies that had great reputations in the marketplace, had great teams in place, had good relationships with the strategic providers in the industry. And they saw the opportunity to bring that all together, expand the strategic partnerships that we have to offer our clients, and then bring together all of the great technical leaders like yourself that are in the organizations so that we can span and have more customer conversations and drive more value with our clients around data center technologies, everything from compute, networking, storage. A lot of the acquisitions Converge made, that's where the companies had invested for years. But on top of that, focusing on our strategic solutions, right? Everything from data and analytics to having the AI conversations with our clients, thinking about how we help our customers modernize their applications and leverage the cloud platform technologies that are out there, and wrapping that all around with cybersecurity as well. In the beginning, we had conversations on how do we brand ourselves? Do we want to be Converge and Mainline comes into the Converge umbrella? Do we want to be Mainline and Converge becomes part of Mainline? And we really saw it as an opportunity to change the way we think about the organization and come up with a new name. And we wanted to make sure we started this new path and this new journey with a new name that helped everybody understand the importance of driving momentum in the marketplace.
I know you're a football fan, a Dolphins fan.
Correct.
So as we think about these two organizations coming together, do you feel that this is sort of like a Don Shula moment, or is this more of like bringing in Mike McDaniel or hiring Tyreek Hill? What is this moment like that you see that we've got all this potential, right? You described the core DNA, all the tangibles and intangibles coming together to make this one organization that has a lot of momentum and grit.
Yeah, unfortunately, since the Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl in a long time, I won't use them as a reference. I'm a big hockey guy as well, right? So I'll use a really good example of teams coming together and winning a championship. And that example is Team USA, the Miracle on Ice. And for those that have seen the movie, there's a great scene where the coach is making them sprint and sprint and sprint. And one of the players steps up and says, he's Mike Eruzione. And who does he play for? He plays for Team USA. And I think that's a moment that I look at for Pellera to say, we have a lot of great resources across the entire organization. We have tremendous leaders from both organizations. But for us to be successful moving forward, everybody needs to come together and be part of Team Pellera, right? Take what we've learned from in the past and really move forward as one organization, one team, take the best pieces of everything. That's not just a people statement. That's looking at the tools. That's looking at the processes and making sure that we're not forgetting where we came from, as I talked about in the beginning, but let's bring the best parts of both organizations' history. Let's come together as one team and really be successful in the marketplace.
I love that analogy of it's not this team or that team. It is our team together. Together we go forward and do great things. In many ways, right, that points to the importance of culture. Creating a culture, having a culture where people are inspired, right? From the top all the way to the bottom. But bringing organizations together, as we both know, is difficult. I mean, I think it was a Herculean effort to bring 36 companies together and unite them so well in just 8 years. Can you talk and share with our audience what it's like to rebrand and roll out a transformation?
The number one rule for me is you have to maintain the culture. And as we talked about in the beginning, remember it's a people business. This business is all about relationships, and we need to create an environment where people feel comfortable and they continue to evolve those relationships and strengthen those relationships as part of the transformation. I think the other thing that we've learned over time, making all the acquisitions we did, is you have to listen. You have to take the time to understand what are people concerned about? What are people thinking about? And that's making sure that we do surveys. So we've done culture surveys, we've done employee surveys, we've done branding surveys, and making sure that everybody has a voice. And I think it's really important that the team feels they're part of the process. And if you bring everything back to why are we doing things, right? What value is it to the employees? What value does it bring to our strategic partners? But most importantly, what value does it bring for our clients? You take that challenge of transforming and rebranding, and it turns into an opportunity. we can now use this as an opportunity to go back to all of our clients and talk about Pellera, talk about what we're building, talk about the skills and capabilities we have as an organization. And that gets excitement in the marketplace. It gets exciting for the employees, and it gives everybody something to band around and really go to market with.
So it's communication internally, but it's also that external communication as well, right? Making sure that you're getting feedback 360 degrees. It's one thing to manage change. It's another to lean into it with intention. Hearing Greg talk about bringing together 36 companies, honoring where they came from, and uniting them under one vision, that's leadership in action. That's the work behind the headlines. But transformation doesn't stop at the brand. Up next, we get into how Pellera is helping clients navigate their own change, from building AI strategies and cyber frameworks to scaling solutions that actually move the needle. So as you've talked to them, what sort of values do you feel have been helpful in terms of communicating and grounding the change and the understanding of how the organization moves forward?
Yeah, and that's been a journey for us as well, right? We've talked a lot early on about integrity and unity and commitment and excellence, right? And then as we continued to acquire and as we became a bigger organization, we talked about new values that we want to focus on, right? We want to focus on being passionate, caring about what we do every day. And that passion can be contagious. Innovation is another one, right? I think we want to be technical innovators. We want our clients to look at us as being innovative. And that's a big differentiator for us. We've got a lot of great technical thought leaders in this business, and they need to continue to be forward thinking. They need to be adaptable to what's going to happen and how do they lead through this transformation. So I think innovation is another key value that we'll continue to talk about. One of the other things we've said is being wildly creative, not relying on cookie cutter solutions. Someone like yourself who's done a number of different design thinking workshops with our clients. How do you work with the clients to understand what their challenges are, what their potential use cases are, and push different boundaries with technology to help them design the right solution that's right for them and their needs, right? And last but not least is emotional intelligence. Beyond the technical issues, we need to be able to deliver those solutions, but we also need to be able to resonate with the human side of the business. Essentially, all that is, those are the key values. They'll continue to be a key piece of the business and what we want to drive moving forward.
I do think that passion is contagious. The culture helps feed the way that we deliver. But I mean, change is hard. It doesn't just impact leaders, it affects all levels of the organization. Can you share, how do you practically create space for employees to grow, feel empowered? What does that employee transformation look like?
Over communicate is one of the key themes we've been talking about as a leadership team over the last couple of weeks and recent days. And we want to have a very clear communication plan internally that's built around everything from town hall meetings to monthly newsletters to office hours where people can come in and ask any question they want. I mentioned the birthdays with Berard earlier, having all of the employees have an opportunity to interact and ask the right questions. We want to do more investment in our leadership. So we've rolled out learning programs and leadership programs over the last 2 years to help make sure that we're upskilling our leadership team so that they can help inspire growth with their employees and communicate the right way. You'll see us continue to drive more and more town halls and visit different cities and get out in person. One of the things that I loved to do last year was visit all of the offices and hold lunch and learns where the employees could come in, grab some lunch and do an open Q&A and understand where we're taking the business. What's our strategy?
As our organization is moving forward, it's really an interesting time that we're in. There's a lot of emergent technology, especially around AI. I'd love to understand how you're approaching this shift in technology. Do you have any guidance for leaders that are trying to scale AI in ways that are secure and sustainable?
You've been involved in a number of these conversations, so I'll probably ask you a few questions on this topic. But the first thing I always say is we're in a time where you need to accept AI. You cannot be afraid of what AI can do for your business, but you need to take the time to understand where can AI have the biggest impact? Where can AI help you drive the right business outcomes? And understanding that gives you an opportunity to then decide, how are you going to prioritize governance? How are you going to wrap security around the solutions the right way? And how do you foster an environment of continuous learning? Because AI is going to change the game in how we operate in many different facets of the world. We've actually done a lot of projects with our teams around infrastructure assessments, AI design thinking workshops. We have cybersecurity assessments we do. So we've done a lot of work in the healthcare space. We've done a lot of work with some of our financial services clients, our automotive clients. So we continue to do a number of different projects in multiple industries.
And we're definitely seeing that AI is a major driver of transformation. And it's not just inside IT. Obviously, it is there, right, from an observability and a management standpoint. It is something that leaders need to be thinking about in terms of creating actionable value for their companies. What areas of AI adoption do you think are commonly overlooked?
I think you highlighted one of them, right? And that's around the security side, right? But I'll go back to, I think the biggest challenge that our clients have is, what is the use case they need, right? I think everybody right now is trying to say they're leveraging AI. The board's asking them, what are you doing around AI, right? So I think that the most important piece of advice I give everyone is focus on the use case. What business problem are you trying to solve, and how does AI technology potentially help? And I'll ask you about your favorite use case that you've done in a second here. But the other piece we talk about is, a lot of clients forget to think about the data. If you don't have your data in order first, you're not going to get the most value out of AI. So starting with your infrastructure assessment and understanding what your data looks like today, do you have real strong data quality in place? And then start leveraging the AI technology around that, right? And I think that's commonly overlooked, is people think you can just implement an AI tool, whether it's Copilot or something else in the marketplace, and start leveraging it and getting the most value out of it. But that's where it's risky. You need to understand what your data is today, make sure it's secure, make sure it's governed the right way, and then think about leveraging AI on top of that. My favorite use case is around, we recently worked with a large healthcare company, and they were facing operational challenges. They had cost pressures in their call center. They were having increased call volume. So they needed to figure out, how do they leverage AI to help with some of these challenges. And we helped them deploy an AI virtual agent, leveraging IBM Watson technology to really just handle routine inquiries, right, around claims and benefits. We also looked at leveraging some of the AI ops technology that was out there to further optimize performance. The other thing we did is we built an AWS-based analytics pipeline, right, to further extract insights from the calls they were receiving to identify additional automation opportunities. So it was looking at the challenge, it was looking at the current processes, and then leveraging the technology to help them reduce processing time, to identify opportunities for virtual assistants. So this is a great example of, let's help our customers be more productive. Let's leverage the AI technology. And at the end of the day, you're going to be more efficient and drive better customer value for them as well.
It was creating that AI value flywheel. Take the easy thing first. Maybe it wasn't the coolest or sexiest, but it's where there was the greatest value. You mentioned that you were going to ask me about my favorite use case. So I've been thinking about that. There's some where I've made some really cool ingenuitive models that were helped the business out, but the most impactful for me was, or my favorite was, this kind of very 2020, right? It was with Lucira Health. They came to us with a problem in December, and we rolled out a solution by February, March. Not only did we do that, but I was in person when we first launched it at the Philadelphia 76ers game, and then at the Golden State Warriors game, where they were using this app to collect test results from COVID tests and let people into the venue. It was cool to see people use it. It was also really scary to see people use it. Because here they are using an application that my team built, that my team was supporting, and it was working. And when it didn't work, it hurt, right? But it's that grit you were talking about that we take as inspiration to then go back and reinvest in providing a better solution. Being in the trenches and seeing the value that comes out of it in real time. For me, that is definitely something I'm not going to forget.
I remember that. And I remember you sending some test kits to my house and I had to give feedback for that project. So,
Yeah, we crowdsourced the training data set across all the employees at Converge. People that didn't know anything about AI were helping out. Definitely a team sport.
great.
Cybersecurity is another emergent space that has become a high stakes battleground. AI is being used on both sides. How do you see AI shaping the future of cyber defense?
Yeah, it's a great question. And unfortunately, AI is changing the game for both sides. It's making the cyber criminals more creative. And we're using AI to help our teams improve their ability, right, to really detect threats faster and respond to incidents automatically, right? And that's really where I think you're seeing a lot of the cybersecurity companies figure out how do they leverage AI to build better solutions for their clients. And what we've seen is specifically on the application side, our cybersecurity team and our AI team, they teamed up to create a new offering that essentially tests vulnerabilities for AI applications. Organizations are harnessing the power of AI to accelerate their businesses, and we need to help them. We need to build new technology and new solutions, right? So new technology means new attack services and emergence risks, right? So this offering that we've built combines the hands-on experience of the AI team with the deep skills of what we call our red team, penetration testing as a service, to identify and mitigate risks, right? So our red team has a number of different offerings, and they can leverage the experts on the AI side and help our customers deal with some of those vulnerabilities. We've also worked together with the AI team to build what we're calling a Converge large language model guard solution. And essentially what we're doing here again is thinking about how do we take the experts from our AI practice, how do we take the experts from our cyber practice, and then how do we build an AI gateway for enterprise customers who are looking to utilize generative AI models, including large language models for both public and private, in a manner that's secure, it's compliant, and it's aligned with their corporate governance.
It is exciting times. AI startups are all over the place. New offerings are, it's all, in some ways it's like the birth of the internet. Only instead of happening over and evolving over 20 years, it seems like we've done 20 years in the last 2 or 3 years. How do you think companies can truly set themselves apart in today's market?
Yeah, look, I think we've talked a lot about people. We've talked a lot about being trusted advisors. We've talked a lot about thought leadership. And that's really what I think differentiates Pellera in the market. And that's how you can set yourself apart from your competitors, right? It's having that deep technical expertise with a people first approach. I always use the example of doctors, right? Doctors are not going anywhere. They're only going to be better at their jobs by leveraging AI, right? And leveraging all the data that we can provide them. So AI and automation will continue to play a crucial role for every organization, but they'll be most effective when you're guided by human insight, creativity, and empathy.
I would agree. Google's DNA was focused on the user and not the technology,
Exactly.
right? And I think as an organization, that has been what we've been doing for the last 8 years, right? Looking ahead, what future trends or technologies are you watching closely that you think are going to drive the next wave of transformation?
Yeah, I think for me, it's really, I'll say it's around AI and how AI is going to change the way we work, right? There are other trends out in the marketplace, Internet of Things, and other trends that I'll continue to watch and see. But for Pellera itself, what we're really focused on is how do we take all the excitement around AI? How do we look at how AI will change the way we work? How do we impact how our customers are doing business today? And really focus on driving meaningful business outcomes with them and giving them the tools they need to be successful. So today we've talked to a lot of our larger enterprise customers. We're doing a lot of large AI projects, but now we're going to shift to doing more scalable and helping our clients in the mid-market space optimize their AI solution. So we're going to not turn our focus because we want to continue to work with the large enterprises and drive value with them, but we want to make sure that we're also scaling and helping our clients optimize their AI workloads, whether it's in the cloud or whether it's in a hybrid environment.
It is definitely a challenge, right? For big organizations have really, really big budgets and they can make big moves real quick. But I think it's what you're saying, Greg, is those small, medium-sized organizations, they've got legacy systems, they've got technical debt. They know on one hand, they need to get the value out of AI, but at the same time, they need to come from where they are and learn to to move efficiently, carefully, but also recouping that value.
It goes back to understanding that use case and understanding how it's going to drive ROI for their organization. It's not just about being able to say you're leveraging AI in today's marketplace, but it's about how are you using it and what's the impact to you and how are you driving that value.
Big visions need big benchmarks. From your perspective, what milestones or innovations do you think leaders should be tracking to measure real progress? What are you putting out there and looking for?
Yeah, look, right now our focus is on integration. We just had our first board meeting a couple weeks ago in Austin, Texas, and bringing the leadership team together to talk about how's the integration going. Are we coming together as one team? Are we pulling the different departments together under common leadership? So today, as I think about the next 6 months, a lot of what we're measuring is around the integration and the success of the integration. And we'll celebrate those small wins and we'll talk about what we've accomplished. We'll set some numbers around that, and then we're growing our strategic practice areas. Everything we talked about today, we want to make sure we're investing in data and AI. We're investing in application modernization and cloud. We're driving the security business to the next level.
You've led through massive brand and business transformations, right? That's been the DNA of what you've done for so many years now. Lighthouse, creative computing, Converge. What are you excited about the most with Pellera in terms of your excitement about just the organization?
Yeah, I think what I'm most excited about, there's really two things, right? And the first is the people and the culture. Culture has always been a very important thing that I've talked about to my leadership team for years. And I think that the culture between Mainline and Converge was so similar from day one. And that excited me. And it still excites me because I know the culture is going to make sure that we retain the people that we need to retain to drive this business forward. The second thing that I'm excited about is the value that I know we can deliver to our clients, the value I know we can deliver to our partners. And that is something I'm excited to watch. It's very, very special time right now at Pellera. I'm excited to look back 3 years from now and talk about all the successes we've had, all the solutions we've built for our clients. To me, I know based on what I've seen over the last 6 months, we have the right platform to build off of. We have the right leadership team. We have the right people. And we have the right partnerships. And I can't wait to see the momentum that we can continue to build together.
I really appreciate you taking this time out of your day to meet with me. As always, it's been a pleasure.
Doc, always a pleasure to be with you. And I'll see you in New York City soon.
Looking forward to it. If there's one thing we hope you take away from today's episode, it's this. Change isn't disruption. It's a decision. Becoming Pellera wasn't just about refreshing our logo or updating our email signatures. It was about realigning around what matters, empowering people, solving problems, and building forward with clarity and care. And as Greg reminded us, transformation isn't about doing everything at once. It's about listening, learning, and choosing to grow, even when it's hard. Thanks for joining us for the special season premiere. And don't forget to subscribe to Edge of IT on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. Want to see how we're helping organizations lead through change? Visit us at Pellera.com.